Welcome to Spotter Connect. My name is Colin McConkey. KE8RXN is my amateur radio call sign, and I serve currently in 2023 as the Assistant Team Leader for Kent County Skywarn. This video continues a multi-part training series for Kent County Skywarn team members as well as our partners who are signed up for various roles to introduce all of us to Spotter Connect. Spotter Connect, by way of summary, is the new all-in-one web platform whereby we have combined all of the functionality from TextCom, our previous paging and document repository platform, as well as Google Sheets, previously our scribing solution for many, many years, all into one platform now called Spotter Connect. Many, many thanks to Steve W3BIZ, the web developer for Spotter Connect. Without his labors on behalf of Kent County and all of his hard work and volunteer hours, we would not have Spotter Connect today, nor would we be rolling it out in 2024. So we are very, very appreciative as leadership to Steve W3BIZ for his truly exceptional work in developing this software for us. So this particular video covers the roles and the capabilities that a scribe will have. A scribe has the ability to do everything possible within Spotter Connect except manage user roles and also activate and deactivate the team. Those two features are reserved for the highest level of access, which is for leaders only, which the following video in this series will cover. But for those of you who are trained as scribes, you have the ability, once again, to do everything except activate the team and manage other user access. So if you've watched the previous videos, this is going to start looking very familiar to you. If you haven't, just a very quick recap of the basic functionalities covered more in depth by other videos, and then we'll jump right into the scribing features in particular. As a scribe, I don't have the ability, as previously mentioned, to change the activation state, but I can see on the home page, as can all roles, what the current activation state is, the number of county spotters currently signed up, as well as via windy.com, the current radar and lightning data for the Great Lakes area. And by way of quick comment, I do have the ability to toggle both on this page and also the Doppler Radar page that I will briefly mention momentarily. I have the ability to select different weather products to maintain situational awareness. As I've stated in every video so far, the Doppler radar provided at Spotter Connect is good for basic situational awareness, but nevertheless, it does not replace the need for high-level radar software such as GR Level 3, GR2 Analyst, Radar Omega, WSV3, or Radar Scope. This, of course, is the home page that a scribe will see. And so let's quickly go through the check-in log. I will timestamp this portion of the video so that if you have already watched this portion, you can skip ahead directly to the next chapter on the scribing specific features. But if you haven't, a very quick recap. Under the check-in log, you can see the spotter check-ins for Kent County for December 14th, 2023. And if you do decide to check in, you can do so here. You can click New, and you as a scribe do have the ability to set your activation role. That is because you will be acting on behalf of the net controller to record all of the roles and reports and check-in data for everybody. And so you have the ability to record what your assigned activation role is. That is not a feature that the standard spotter role has. You also, of course, just as spotters do, have the ability to view all of the active spotter data for Kent County. You will notice that some of us are entered in more than once, and that is typically because we want to be notified via multiple emails or multiple text messages to various phone numbers, that is. But you have the ability as a scribe to see all that data and also contact people as needed. As stated in the other videos, but nevertheless bears very quick recap here, SpotterTRACK is a possibly future state feature of Spotter Connect that has not yet been included, nor are there active development plans for it. If it is included in future development, it will essentially be Kent County Skywarn's version of the Spotter network, whereby we can actually track, should users agree to it, of course, their location in real time to even better determine where they are currently reporting via the next link, which is the event log. Once I select the date here, you can see that I've already entered in some sample data that I did in the previous video. Now, as a scribe, I will mention that although you can use the check-in log and the event log here in the left-hand side, you will actually want to enter in this data via the scribing link, which once again, if you've already seen the previous videos, you can go ahead and skip to that chapter in the video now. But the check-in log does enable both spotters, scribes, and leaders to self-report events as needed. You will, of course, get the red disclaimer stating, please, if at all possible, do it via amateur radio so that way we know who you are, where you are, what type of report it is, because during the fog of war, so to speak, we may not see all of the online reports right away until we go back and review them later. The best way to get your information across is to report it via the amateur radio net. Of course, if it's a life-threatening emergency, don't wait to call us. Call it in to dispatch via 911, of course. But nevertheless, this is how you would report something, but also see other reports as well if you are a standard spotter. Notifications, you can see what kind of notifications have been offered. Now, if this appears blank at first, just go ahead and click on the current date. You will see no notifications have been sent for today's current date, which at time of recording is December 14th, and that is because the team is not currently activated, nor has been activated recently, so there is no notification history for the current day. As a spotter, as a scribe rather, just like a spotter would, you have the ability to view the document repository and see the current documentation that the team leaders have provided for team use. As a scribe, you also have the ability to utilize SpotterCHAT, which replaces the Google Sheets chat feature that was helpful for many scribes in the past to collaborate and refine reports if needed, especially if one scribe didn't copy all the information, but the other scribe did. As a scribe, you also have the ability to access the larger view of Doppler radar and also see past radar loops as a spotter would with a spotter level access. And as I play this radar loop here from approximately the last hour, you can see some rain showers, possibly some thunderstorms slowly moving their way from the due south across the eastern portion of Colorado and the western portion of Kansas, heading into the southwestern portion and south central portion of Nebraska. And you can see what are very likely some snow showers up in Ontario and perhaps some rain and snow in central New York, but nothing currently concerning on radar for the Great Lakes region. As a scribe, you do have the ability to see this larger Doppler radar view. And now to the fun part. If you are a scribe, you have the ability to use the scribing page. What this does is truly a godsend for those of us that scribe, whether we be leaders or whether we be scribes. What this enables us to do is rather than having to juggle multiple Google Live forms and at a minimum 2 Google Sheets, now all of this information is self-contained within the scribing page. Up at the top is the check-in log. This replaced both the Google Sheet and the associated live form for the old radio log. So if you are a scribe and you are entering in a user, you would click New Check-in, take their call sign. Now you will notice if it's a call sign of a user already listed in the database, it will already pull in their last name for you. And all you need to do is type the first name. It just saves you a little bit of time, so that way you don't need to type in all the information during the heat of the moment. We'll go ahead and say that I am currently on NWS Chat, and that is my primary role. Of course, team members often wear many hats during nets, but they should always, of course, be assigned by the net controller functioning as the incident commander during an incident, in other words, a severe weather event, one primary role. And so I'm going to go ahead and this is not my actual current location, but it is a location within the city of Grand Rapids. I'm going to go ahead and just put down Michigan and Monroe. And as I stated previously, please also ensure that you put the population center, whether it be village, town, city, whatever it may be, that you are either in or that is closest to you. So that way we have the best idea of where you are. Don't simply put down the street name, for example. If you say that you are located on 3 Mile, that immediately raises two questions. Number one, where on 3 Mile? And number two, while we presume you're speaking of 3 Mile in Kent County, you could be out of county and referring to 3 Mile in a county to our north, for example. So just make sure you put in two cross streets as well as the population center. Once I have that entered in, I can go ahead and hit check-in. And the beauty of this feature is that it will keep this intake form up until you hit cancel. So you do not, as a scribe, need to constantly hit new check-in every time. You can go ahead and just keep entering data as much as you need to. And in this particular example here, I'm just putting in sample data here. I've entered in Whiskey 1 Alpha Whiskey, a double RL test. For location, I just put in Yellow Brick Road. It's just a test. I just threw that in there randomly and randomly designated this test report as a mobile spotter. But nevertheless, you can enter this information in, hit check-in, and just keep proceeding and keep taking check-ins as you need to. This is going to be especially useful during a yellow mode net where we traditionally do not take reports as we are only looking for active check-ins at a time. Now, of course, you can always alternate between the check-in log and now the event log at any point in time. The event log traditionally is going to be used more often during a red mode net when we only take event reports. And so for this, you would once again enter in the call sign. It's going to populate this time both the first and the last name for you, so you don't need to worry about that. And we'll go ahead and just put in the report type. Let's say that this individual has already either reported themselves or the NWS phone or chat liaison has already reported this on the net. You can go ahead and just put in this information. We'll just say that this test case of flash flooding was reported via NWS chat. And once again, we will go ahead and enter Michigan and Monroe as our sample cross streets in the city of Grand Rapids. And under other details, we're just going to put the details of the report itself, and I'm just going to put in test, so that way if anybody happens to look at this later, they know that it was simply that, just a test. We'll go ahead and add report. And the beauty of this is that the report form will continue to stay up for you, so you can just keep entering in reports as a scribe over and over until you hit cancel. So let's just put in one more for good measure. We'll put in Whiskey 1 Alpha Whiskey. We'll put in ARRL test. This time we'll just choose storm damage as our test and we'll select phone this time. And we're just going to put in Yellow Brick Road as our sample location. Of course, the ARRL is not located on the Yellow Brick Road, but it's just a test, just for demonstration purposes. And in other details, we'll put test again. We click add report. And as you can see, it just continues to keep populating for you. And this way you don't have to constantly click back and forth between the Google Sheet and the live form. You don't have to click anything to populate a new intake form for you. It will automatically stay there for you, and you can just keep entering in data until such a time as you need to stop and switch to something else. Should you, as a scribe, need to export any of this data, where you can go is you can export the logs individually under firstly the check-in log. You can export it as an Excel spreadsheet, technically a CSV file, as well as a PDF. You can also go to the event log, check your date. If you notice that it appears blank at first, it just means that you need to click on today's date and then it will immediately populate everything, and you can export that as well. So if you are a scribe tasked with archiving this data somewhere else other than Spotter Connect, this is how you would do it. However, we no longer have to manually archive our data because it is saved for us now directly within Spotter Connect. We can click on any date and time as a scribe or a leader or any level of access for that matter and see that historical data. So it's automatically archived as soon as you put it in. You don't have to worry about that manual process anymore. One final question that you may have as a scribe is, well, what do I do if I need to change information on a report? To do that, the instructions up here in the top center state to edit data, double click in a cell and change it, it will automatically save. So for example, let's just say that I want to edit the latest check-in log here under ARRL test. I'm going to change last name of test, and we'll just put ham radio as the last name. So I enter that, I click out of it, and it's automatically saved for me. Now, as a point of order, if you need to change that both in the check-in log and the event log, just make sure that you do it in both places. Now, if a spotter is following along, they do not see this scribing page here where everything is self-contained on one screen. But if they are following along, say, in an event log, once you make the change, that will be reflected in the event log that they can see. So those are the features that you have as a scribe. Once again, you can do everything everybody else can do and then some. The only two things as a scribe you can't do is manage user access and manually change the team activation status. However, finally, one thing that I will include is that as a scribe, you do have the ability to send either a pre-canned message or other messages to users. So for example, if you are volunteering by sending out a page the night before regarding an upcoming tornado siren testnet, you do have the ability as a scribe to select that form, that message, and determine whether you want to send it via both email and SMS or separately, as well as whether you want to send it just to the Kent County Skywarn team or to send it to everybody who is not only a Kent County Skywarn spotter, but also on the paging list as well. So there you have it. If you have any questions as a scribe, certainly feel free to reach out to me. My amateur radio email is ke8rxn@gmail.com. Once again, I know I speak on behalf of all the leadership with Kent County Skywarn. We very much appreciate what you do as a scribe for Kent County, and we do truly hope that Spotter Connect makes your experience not only more enjoyable, but also much more efficient as well, and that you find it a very pleasant process. If you have any feedback, certainly feel free to let us know. Thank you very much, and I will see you all in the final video.